Decision day has arrived, ladies and gentlemen. Very exciting time. The last game of the season. It can feel a little bittersweet. It can feel nothing but bitter if you're, me or AJ as Atlanta United fans and FC Dallas fans. But hey, there are two guys on the panel today who are talking about playoffs. Today, though, on the video specifically, we're breaking down 5 of the juiciest matchups for Decision Day. They very much have playoff implications. A lot of wild card play-in game talk on the agenda for today. And again, we have a great cast and crew to talk about it. We have Hitman Honda, the LA Galaxy fan. He's in playoffs. He's locked up, going for first place this weekend. We got AJ from Atlanta United Fan TV, and we got that boy Davi from the Blue Burrows Pod. Look, man, guys, I'm excited. My team's not in. Fuck, it is what it is. I don't want to talk about it. But we are here to talk about Decision Day and these games that will impact it. Playoffs are going to feel a little interesting this year, right? Messi in full flow with Inter Miami. Gucho balling out there with Columbus. There's a lot going on in the East and the West. There's a lot of feel like sleepers. Galaxy, LAFC, Army talked about quite as much. We'll talk about it in the video today. But let's cue up the first matchup. We'll jump right into it. Actually, before we do, if you haven't done so already, do me a quick favor. Like the video down below. Subscribe to the channel. Playoff predictions coming up next week on the channel, and all playoff talk from there on out for the rest of the 2024 season. Don't miss any of the action. All right, let's jump in, lads. DC United, Charlotte FC, DC 10-10-13, despite having the Golden Boot winner virtually. The 23 goal man himself, Christian Benteke, is carrying this side. He has to do it again because, look, they're in 8th. They got to stay in that home field position spot for that play-in game, that one-game wild card playoff. You don't want to be on the road, especially with how bad DC United have really kind of been this season. And they're going up against a Charlotte team that's virtually locked things up already, right? And they're kind of going through a little bit of adversity themselves, kind of mixy with some of the latest results. But look, man, they got the dub last week. Both teams did. How do we see this one going? DC has to get some momentum, man. If they're going to try and win that play-in game, is it going to be all Benteke or does anybody else step up?
Well, I mean, that hasn't been the case all season, really. But
this game matters more than anything. It has to.
It does, but I think also Charlotte have something to play for as well. I mean, they could usurp NYCFC if NYC doesn't do their business. So it is a little bit of it's game on, and I think both sides are going to come to play. But I mean, DC, I don't know. I think it still might be a little bit where I don't think there are a ton of goals in this, but there are. When there is going to be a goal, it's going to be very important.
Yeah, it has to be Benteke. Like I mean, the guy's going to find it. I believe he's going to hit 24 and lock it up as far as the Golden Boot's considered. There were a few, little MVP shots here and there as well for that man. But the rest of the team, I mean, he's going to have to put this team on his back. They haven't kept a clean sheet in almost 10 games now, 9 matches straight. This team can't stop anybody, even a Charlotte team that, for the most part this season, has somewhat struggled up front, right, guys? We've talked about it on the show. We all know that. But lately, anyway, they've been finding the goals. I mean, whether it's against the 4-0 against the Revs, the 2-0 against Montreal, hell, even the 7-goal shootout against the Fire, which is crazy to even say, right? A 4-3 win over Chicago Fire. But nonetheless, and they drew against Miami in Miami that, a few weeks back. They got their own kind of momentum going, and they need to keep that going, like AJ said. AJ, so you think if there's not a lot of goals in this one, if it comes down to 1 goal on either side, you back Benteke, or do you think Charlotte could pull it out?
I think for selfish purposes, I want Charlotte to actually do something, but can I rely on them? I don't know. It's I mean, I think that their defense can probably. DC United, that's really been the question, and I think Charlotte can, and that result will help for selfish reasons to have that outside chance for LA United to get in. But I think it's probably a 1-0 Charlotte.
I like selfish reasons, by the way. I'm a big fan of selfish reasons.
Gotta manifest.
Yeah, absolutely, bro. You gotta channel that shit.
Just like me praying on the Mets' downfall.
There it is.
There it is. Absolutely, you gotta channel that shit. Honda, how do you see this one going, bro?
You know what? I mean, obviously, DC United have not been great at home as well, too, as you said before. I think it was a 4-3 they beat Chicago, but they conceded 3 goals. They lost to Dallas. They lost to teams that maybe they could have won, but they didn't. And Charlotte, I don't know how their form is away from their home either, but I kind of want to believe in Benteke. Actually pulling this off for them.
I don't blame you, bro. I don't blame you. Charlotte at home, just over the last like they've had two away games in the last like 5 or 6, and they drew to Miami away and they lost to Orlando. So that's, again, 2 good teams. So take everything with a grain of salt. But I don't know. They are much better at home, but I kind of agree with AJ a little bit, and with kind of what you said there, Honda. It feels like Dean Smith could get something, could get them motivated to take something from this game, even a draw at a minimum. And DC is not exactly, a powerhouse at home. Davi, you love both of these teams, bro. Who's your pick?
DC, I don't mind. They hate the Red Bulls, and so do we. So DC's just kind of there.
Fair enough.
Charlotte, they just pissed me off because we can't beat them for whatever reason until Alonso Martinez won it for us. Charlotte is kind of middle of the pack when it comes to away form. Like
they could overtake you. They They're
they can. We'll have to, we still have yet to play this game, so we'll wait and see if they'll do it. Charlotte, they're middle of the pack, 4 wins, 4 draws, 8 losses on the road. And DC United are the worst home team in the Eastern Conference with 4 wins, 5 draws, and 7 losses. So you know what? But I backed DC on the show.
Because you can't back Charlotte. I mean, you're not going to back the team who could potentially overtake you, right?
No, and I've already backed DC. I'm in too deep on the show with DC. So
That's true. You have backed him more than a few times.
At this point, my boy Benteke, the Golden Boot winner, I think he'll show up. Probably get a couple goals, and we'll probably get DC their 5th home win of the season, which is kind of crazy that a team with 5 home wins could find themselves in the playoffs.
That's not even the craziest step, bro. A team with a negative 15 goal differential could find themselves in the playoffs. I think that's insane.
And embarrassing.
And a team like Philly with 61 goals could find themselves out.
Bro, it's insane. Negative 15, negative 18 could be the wild card in the East. Meanwhile, you have Philly down here who had just been, I guess you could say, somewhat unlucky considering their goal differential's the best of any team who doesn't have a locked up playoff spot. It's wild, just what's going down here in the bottom half of the table. But nonetheless, man, I agree with you. But Teke probably will get on the score sheet. It's just you just said it. If they win, it's their 5th home win of the season. I don't know if that happens. It doesn't happen often enough.
But the likelihood,
yeah. But I think this time is a little bit different. So I think who's their coach? Troy, how do you say his name? Lasagna or whatever? The Lasagna dude.
Yes. Troy Lasagna dude, yeah.
It's like Troy. I forgot LaSalle. I don't know how you say his name, but yes, I know who you're talking about.
Yeah.
Troy.
Yeah. I think he might motivate the players, and also Pirani, the DP, who came up big against Nashville with a hat trick. It's just a crazy ending to that game. I think both of them, if both of them step up, I think DC will be just fine. I think they'll be in the playoffs.
Yeah, I got a hot take. I disagree with you. I think Charlotte will win, and I think if you're going with the agenda that like I'm not going to bet on Charlotte because I don't want them to overtake us. I don't think it happens because I think you guys control your own fate. So I think that for me, I don't see that Charlotte overtaking NYCFC, but I see them winning this game. Even if Benteke scores, I see them winning this game. So I'm going to back it 2-1. I think recently they drew Miami. Miami with Messi. So I'm just going to go off recency bias here and just say Charlotte. That's just me personally.
Honestly, if we drop to 6th and we play whoever finishes 3rd, I probably wouldn't mind it. Orlando, they're kind of getting hot, so I kind of want to beat them. But
yeah, if you guys get Cincy, I wouldn't mind it at all.
I mean, if we played Cincy, we just beat them and we play them really well.
Bro, they have 3 straight losses, and we'll talk about Cincy a little bit.
Yeah, honestly, if we play Cincy in the playoffs, I wouldn't mind. I genuinely would. I think we have a better chance against Cincy than we do Orlando.
Yeah, fair enough. So, I think we all, for the most part, have our picks. I'm not sure on Honda's though. What was your pick, Honda?
I picked DC.
So 2 DC and 2 Charlotte, right, AJ?
Mm-hmm.
All right, we're split, lads. We're split. I think it's gonna be interesting to see how it goes, man. It's kind of crazy though how bad Charlotte was last season. Before we move on, they really were. Man, remember how bad they lost 5-0 to the Red Bulls in the wild card match? Like it's kind of insane how much Dean Smith has reworked this side.
A wild card that they didn't deserve to get into, in my opinion.
To be honest, yeah, I agree. Yep. I agree. Everyone thought that it was almost felt like the playoffs were getting watered down by even having the wild card game, and then you see Charlotte get their asses kicked 5-0. It was like, why are we even doing this? But it's crazy. You know, we talked about in the pre-show how much LA Galaxy have turned things around, going from 13th to 1st in a year. This is not that impressive. But frankly, Charlotte haven't signed the players that the Galaxy have, and they've done a pretty decent job turning this around.
Yeah, if it weren't for Galaxy, Charlotte would be the revelation team.
Yeah, 1,000%. The surprise team, probably to a lot of people. Just considering they spent a lot of players.
Yeah, I was delusional last year, so I thought we could make it in. I mean, Hudson or wild card, that would have been insane last year.
Yeah. Well, did you guys? I mean, you guys kind of pulled a fire, right? Like decision day, just nothing went y'all's way.
We funnily enough, we beat the Fire. We just
that's what it was. Yeah.
John was
so hyped for that game, bro.
we just the results just didn't go our way. And
yeah,
it was in Chicago's hands too. By the way, they just
for two games straight. It was in Chicago's hands. Yeah, I remember that, and they choked both of them.
Honestly, Rooney's last game in charge. That was it. That was what really put the nail in the coffin for us last year.
Yeah. Well, I mean, look, it's this year. 2024 is different. I expect both Charlotte and New York City FC to be a difficult task for whoever takes them on in playoffs. But in this game, we'll find out. Let us know in the comments down below how you feel about these two teams going at it. All right, guys. Philly, Cincy. Philly in a tricky spot. They need some help. 11th in the East. They did play the Crew pretty damn well despite the loss, but an L's an L. They didn't get the 3 points they needed. And now they sit in a spot where they got it's at home, so it helps. Take on third place Cincinnati. Now, the big talking point is, right, this is not Cincinnati of the start of the season, right? This is Cincinnati who has lost 3 straight. I would say the last 2 months have been a very up and down team, are being carried by 2 players, offensively anyway, in Orellano and Acosta. And so now it's almost like what happens? You know, what is this Cincinnati team even going to do in the playoffs this season? I don't know if anybody has a realistic guess at that because they've just been so up and down recently. Does anybody have Cincy going on the road and winning this game?
I do. Yeah, I think they have to be a little bit more kind of hide and kind of or whatever the side that's good. Jekyll, yeah, whatever it is.
Jekyll.
Yeah. And so. Yeah, they have to probably be very pragmatic here, and I think they have to turn the results around to get some sort of momentum into the playoffs. And I mean, what better kind of tune-up game than Philly? I mean, it's I think it's kind of rife for them. They know that Philly's going to want to attack, and I mean, if Cincy kind of do what they are good at, which is defend, and if they're able to really keep compact, I think they can really trouble the Union here and kind of get a result that isn't going to be in Philly's favor. But I know I said win. That might be a little strong, but I think a 1-1 draw probably can at least upset the apple cart a little bit here. And of course, also selfishly, I need Philly to lose or draw or something and drop points essentially. And that helps.
You're still fighting on an outside chance, AJ?
I am.
Mad respect.
Just like me last year for real.
Yep.
Just hoping and praying on decision day, man. Miracles have been answered on decision day. So.
Honda, I have a question. Is your agenda still on for this game?
My agenda is completely 100% on, and you know what? I actually want to see Atlanta United make it into the playoff, even though they kind of do need a fix. Obviously, right? AJ will tell you that as well too. But if they make it to the playoffs, right, and they do okay, that's very good momentum going to them next season.
Mm-hmm. Wait, for who? For Philly?
Philly, yeah.
No, for Atlanta United.
Oh, for Atlanta United. You're talking about AJ, yeah. I mean, yeah. Honestly, they're starting at a point where it feels very much like a clean slate to an extent. So I think that regardless of what happened this year, Atlanta probably could find a way to start off on the right foot next season. But with Philly, I mean, they have so much to retool. It's kind of crazy. With Philly, though, there is this. I kind of have this inkling. I want to ask you guys this question about them because no matter what, they're one of the most experienced sides in MLS, despite how, they are also one of the oldest sides in MLS. But if they get into playoffs, right? If they're able to work the magic, and we go back to the table, if they're able to work the magic, they sit 3 points behind both play-in teams at 40. If they get help from either one of these teams losing, DC losing, Montreal losing to NYC, we'll talk about that game here in a bit. If Philly makes this jump, they beat Cincinnati, they're tied on 40. Goal differential will put them over. And if they get in, do you back the experience of the Union to create some kind of momentum?
They're a dangerous team, but they would beat Miami.
Yeah, they would be getting Miami.
I agree. I think they'd probably beat DC and lose to Miami.
Yeah, they drew to Miami recently, didn't they?
No, they lost.
Oh, that wasn't L, right? That wasn't L.
Yeah,
I forgot how far back
that was like Messi's comeback game or whatever.
Yeah. That's right. So, do we think that because I rate experience in the postseason heavily. I think if you a team who knows how to navigate playoffs, it doesn't matter how good or bad they were in the season. Same thing with an inexperienced side. It doesn't matter how good they were in the season; they can finish first place and bow out in the first round because of pressure. I feel like this Philly team probably doesn't feel that, considering how often they've been at this stage at this point of the season. So, can they turn that into something if they make it?
They still have to face the GOAT, and then plus all his buddies. I mean, it's just unprecedented. Like
if they somehow beat Miami, right? That just shocks everybody. Like,
it would, but it's just like the
likelihood. The internet would blow up if they took down the GOAT and Miami in the first round of playoffs. Like, it would be insane. Supporter Shield curse would be cemented. I think 1,000% be cemented.
For sure. Yeah, Cheyenne would. He would be just cheering for the rooftops. Yep.
Jesus, yeah. Yeah, it'd be crazy. It really would. I don't know if they could do it, but I don't know. There's something to be said there about experienced teams who find a way to get into the postseason. We've seen this across numerous sports, right? If there's a outside of soccer example, I look to I don't know when it was, maybe the 2011 Giants or something. I'm sure Davi remembers, right? Seeing a team that made the 8th seed because their experience just find a way to win game after game. The Ravens are the same thing. There's all these examples you can point to where experienced sides just find a way to turn it on. I'm not saying they're going to take down Messi in Miami, but crazier shit's happening.
Nah, I just think playoff Eli Manning was just different, man.
Again, I think he was different because of the experience, right? The first time was maybe a little bit of a fluke, I guess you could say, but the second time there's no fluke. Once you get in, just some players turn it on.
Yeah, no, I don't think Eli Manning, when he went on those winning streaks in the playoffs, he threw a pick. Up until Super Bowl 42, I think he threw one pick, but on the way there, I don't think he threw an interception.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying, man. It's just crazy what can happen when you have a team that knows how to handle the pressure, the spotlight, the big moments. They don't shy away from it.
And not only that, the second Super Bowl was without Strahan.
I also question though, how much Messi and them care about playoffs. That's another thing. But we'll see. I think they'll care about this last game to try and tie the record or something, but I don't know really how much Messi, Busquets, Suarez, and Alba are MLS playoffs. Let's go win.
I don't know, man. You're a Barca fan, man.
I know. Trust me, bro. I love Barca knockout matches, and I will always back Messi over anybody in those moments. But this is not Champions League. This is not those moments. I'm not talking down MLS. It's not it. I just don't know what to expect. That's all that I'm saying. I have no idea what to expect.
But to expect them not to get up for these important matches, which is it's another chance for a trophy, and it is probably the last dance for all of them together.
Respectfully, the last time this happened while they were all together in Europe, they choked it at Anfield. So, if you think about that, right? The last time they had the last dance, that was their last realistic chance in 2019 to win the Champions League before they all kind of started moving on with their careers.
What about the 8-2 in 2020?
Bro, I went into that game knowing there was no shot we beat Hansi Flick's Bayern. I knew that going in that Barca was an overhyped team in COVID. Like it was just like the team was fundamentally just not a very cohesive team from back to front. They just had individual players that were so high quality that would get them over the line. 2019 was legitimately our best shot. Like the 3-0 against Liverpool.
If we beat Liverpool, like we easily beat Spurs in that final.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like that was their last chance. So and I think that's for me. It seems somewhat familiar, where it's like they shouldn't switch off. They are the top tier professionals, but at the end of the day, you just have to ask yourselves how comfortable they might be in America, how serious they take MLS. I don't question their professionalism, but I just don't know if this is like going to be one of the most important games or important postseasons they ever play. I
was gonna say if they rest their starters, like. Maybe that might show intent for them going for the cup, but
in this last game, you mean?
Yeah, but I mean,
maybe.
That I'm thinking about it, I really don't know. Like
that's kind of a wild card right now, to be honest. We all thought, a couple of videos ago, we all thought he was gonna like rest players, remember? And like he fucking started everybody. So like I don't know what's gonna happen. We'll see with Miami. To me, they're just somewhat of a question mark. I could be wrong. Messi could do what he does and just slam everyone.
But I mean, if I'm not gonna lie, it just feels inevitable that they win the cup. It just feels that way.
And that's really what the point is. I think is that there's no one inevitable on the Philadelphia Union, and so if it comes to that point, I mean, if you were a betting man, it would just be unwise.
Unless this guy's not taking a penalty.
Yeah, facts, bro. If I'm putting money, I am putting all of it on Inter Miami today, and I would be so upset if Philly won. I'm just saying maybe it's just again the experience question. It's something that always kind of plagues my mind, but maybe it doesn't matter against how experienced this Miami side really are. So anyway, look, predictions. I really think Cincy's in a weird way, man. I know you guys are back in Cincy. I'm gonna take Philadelphia on this one. I know Honda is too. It sounded like, or is it Dodger?
Cincy.
Yeah,
he probably is too.
You can throw both of us in there.
Yeah, I'll be the black sheep here. I think Philly's going to take it. I think Cincy right now is in a weird run of form, and I find it so hard. They haven't won in a month, so I'm just like, it's on the road. They lost the last game at home to Orlando. Yeah. And it wasn't really, to me, what was it? They got a goal, but it wasn't really that close. Like it was.
They got to prove something to go into playoffs, though. That's the thing as well too.
Exactly.
They
both
do.
Teams
I think they'll do it.
Have to.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see what happens. We got 1 for Philly, 3 for Cincy. All right, Dobby, talk to me, bro. New York City FC on the road, not historically the most successful road team, right? But on the road against Montreal, your favorite team to play. Montreal are going to be, we talked about Cincy being up, right? Because they need to get something going for playoffs. Montreal have to win or basically go home, right? They got Philly sniffing the heels right now. Technically, Toronto are still there too. Technically, Atlanta are still there too. There's a lot of pressure.
Toronto are out. They don't play this weekend. Toronto are out.
Oh, that's right. They're out. But Atlanta and Philly are still at play. And then, of course, they have a chance to overtake DC and maybe get home field advantage if DC lose to Charlotte. So there's just like all of this. Meanwhile, New York City FC is just trying to get to a top 4 spot. So maybe there's some motivation in question there, but I don't know. How do you feel about this one?
As much as I love a top 4 spot, I don't see a way it happens. I think it's kind of like last year where it's like, where we need results to go our way, and if we do our part, we just need other people to kind of mess up, and we take advantage of that. Yeah. I don't think I see that happening. Orlando's just too hot of a streak. I know AJ doesn't want to hear it, but I'm sorry, man. Like, trust me, I'm rooting for you guys because I'd love to have 2 playoff games. And right now, as we're
Homie said, I would love to have 2 playoffs.
Yeah, at home, 2 playoff games.
Fair. Yeah.
And which, as we speak right now, the Mets are down right now, so it'd be 3-1 to the Dodgers, and then LA you'd assume LA takes care of business, but I've been manifesting the Mets' downfall, so hopefully Citi Field will be used. That'll be the only postseason that they'll see in November. So
fair play.
Yeah, but when it comes to Montreal, historically, we just own these guys. Like,
So we're just better. We're just better.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, we're just better. Plus, it's like,
I love it, bro.
I mean,
I love it.
Look at this. I mean, I'm pulling up the stats right now. The stats are 13 wins, 2 losses, and 5 draws in our favor.
Yeah, it's kind of wild. I mean, look, Joseph Martinez coming to an interesting run of form, right? And it's kind of crazy when you think about it. Just the aging striker himself.
We got the better Martinez anyway, so it doesn't matter.
Yeah, fair enough. But look, man, what's NYC's road record? I haven't looked at it. I'm kind of curious.
Up here. Their away record. They're 8th in the East with 4 wins, 5 draws, and 7 losses.
Okay, that's not bad. It's actually slightly better than I thought it was going to be. I thought you were like 9th or 10th or something.
Well, for context, our last away win before Red Bull was New England in May.
Holy shit!
So
that's quite a gap right there. And I can't lie, that's quite a gap.
But Montreal away last year, that was our only away win in all of 2023 was Montreal away.
I mean, that's true. Look, against these guys, bro, you don't really technically don't need a lot of help. Like you haven't lost to Montreal in the last 7. It's 6 wins and a draw. It's pretty dominant on that side, but it's just an interesting kind of sparse away record in terms of racking those up. So this to me, this game just smells like a draw. I don't know why. It just smells like they're not going to beat you guys, but I don't know why. It's just like it feels like you guys are going to play to like a 1-1. I'm not going to find a whole ton of a plethora of opportunities to pick from. I might. It depends on it honestly depends more on what version of Montreal shows up. They're the more volatile team, in my opinion, here. So you guys are probably showing up in a decent way, but your road form hasn't been great.
Yeah, I mean, but still historic, we said that last year, and this was our only road win in the whole of 2023, which is a sackable offense, in my opinion. But
also not that crazy in MLS though. That's the Gonzalo Pineda, anemic on the road. I mean, I guess only you guys were worse. So it was
unless it's against Miami.
Right. Yeah, exactly. Somehow, just miracles that we pull off. But yeah, it is this. It's I think Jose Martinez will score 2. He's on that type of goal scoring form. But I think also NYCFC will score 2 as well. So yeah, it will be not probably a fantastic scoreline for anybody. But because it's this. This doesn't help me. If you guys draw, doesn't work.
I mean, we are in a roll. We won our last 3-4 games in a row.
Yeah.
Preferably, I'd like to end off the season on a win. Get the 14th win on the season. But a draw to me, it wouldn't be the end of the world. We're already in the playoffs. That was the bare minimum. Nick Cushing achieved the bare minimum somehow, some way. He's keeping his job in 2025. So, I mean, if that was the task for him to keep his job, the bare minimum, and he's done it. So, yeah, honestly, this is who cares? This is a who cares game, but I'd love to end off the season on a W. But yeah. I'm gonna back New York City. I'm gonna say we win 3-1.
3-1. Interesting. I think it's gonna be. I kind of agree with AJ on the draw front. 2-2 would be. Dude, if Martinez gets 2 goals and he somehow ends with 12 in the regular season, it's a hell of a season for Martinez considering how he started. And just with everything else he has to deal with. Joseph.
Alonso's better. Alonso clears.
Well, yeah, Alonso has a better scoring record. He's at 16, 17, something like that. So I mean,
he has the second best per 90 in the league. But it's more like a per 60 because Nick Cushing just doesn't like rolling Martinez out for a full game.
Fair. I mean, there's probably a reason for that. But I still think Montreal's what they won 3 in the last 5. They did lose the last one, but I mean they lost the game to at home against Charlotte. Charlotte's a very good record at home. Yeah, man, it'd be crazy if Montreal won. I know we have Emissions, who's normally in our chat and our comments backing Montreal heavily. I'm gonna back my boy, man. Emissions, hopefully you see this, bro. I think this is gonna be a 2-1 Montreal.
Oh,
yeah, we'll see how it happens. Honda.
Man, I'm gonna go with a 3-2 NYCFC.
3 goals on the road.
There's gonna be. Hey, listen.
Wait, why are you acting like that when he says that? I said 3-1 NYCFC.
Yeah, but that's all agenda. It's literally your team, bro. You could say 6, and I'd be like, all right, cool. Yeah.
Well, nobody saw us scoring 5 at Red Bull Arena.
I mean, that's fair. Nobody saw that, yourself included. Nobody saw that. Like, that's what I'm saying. It's just like, it just sounds like you're backing your boys. And I respect it, but when
They have the
another
capability
fans
to
backing your
score.
boys to score 3, then I start to put things into question a little bit.
Hey, they have the capabilities to freaking do it. How many goals does Alonso Martinez have again? How many goals does
16, I think.
16.
Yeah.
And he started like a month after. Like he started scoring a month after the season started.
I mean, I think Joseph Martinez took longer to start to get going. Like,
No,
all the goals are kind of coming
Alonso,
as of late.
Alonso was a nobody. And he came in. And
Joseph Martinez is like 30-something years old.
No, I'm talking about Alonso. Alonso
I
Martinez.
know. But I'm saying if we're comparing the two forwards to each other, I just feel like Alonso has more probably going for him. But I don't think it's going to, almost, I don't. When you think about stacking these two forwards against each other in this game, I don't know if he'll outperform Joseph Martinez. I really don't. Like, he's just kind of in that form right now, and Joseph could have a better day. Like, it's very, very possible. Very possible, in my opinion. Honda, what were you going to say? Sorry.
Yeah, I still got the result 3-2. I still think
3-2.
this will be
all right.
a game.
All right, man. We'll see. If you guys score 3 on the road, Davi, I'll hold my hands up. I'll hold them up. It is what it is, man. You've done 5 one time. It was against the rival. Don't do it very often, but we'll see. Alonso might shut me up, or he might see this.
I
what?
wanted 10. I wanted 10 that day, bro. Trust me. I wanted 10.
He wanted the Bayern Barca 8-2. I like that. All right, man. Let's move on to the West now. We got 2 interesting matchups in the Western Conference. Both really kind of have to do with those wild card play-in matches as well. Real Salt Lake taking on Vancouver. Vancouver sits in that 8th spot. Okay, that home field advantage for the play-in game, the 1-game playoff. They did lose to LAFC, but it is LAFC. Last week it was at home. That was kind of interesting. And bro, Real Salt Lake's in a weird run of form right now. They're not as we always say on this show, they're not the dogs they used to be. Kind of neutered in that aspect, and they barely. It's on the road, but they barely beat San Jose, a very down bad, nothing to play for San Jose. And now they have to host a pretty efficient attack in the Vancouver Whitecaps. And so, I don't know, man. Vancouver has to stave off Portland, and we'll talk about Portland here in a second. But I feel like they should be able to do it. Like, this version of Real Salt Lake doesn't scare me very much, even at home, even with the altitude. I kind of want to back Vancouver in this one. Am I crazy?
No, I'm kind of there with you.
All right, AJ.
I mean, I don't think you're crazy, but it is definitely like this matchup and then the next matchup are huge games and like massive implications in placement. And I mean, I think RSL at home, they have to do something here to, kind of at least cement, a spot here, or at least maybe even if things go well, they can jump Seattle. And I think that's motivation enough. And so, I mean, whether they can or not, that's a different story. But I mean, Decision Day has, really, I think, created some crazy moments. And I think this is one of those crazy games. I think RSL, like 3-2. I think it's just gonna be Goal City, just
Tuned and neutered Real Salt Lake. You think they'll back?
I think so. I think crazier things have happened, and I think that's what's happening on Decision Day.
Last time they scored 3 was September, not about a month ago almost now. Not terrible. It was against Portland. They've drawn to Austin.
There's a 2-week international window, guys. Like, you're making it sound like it's like
no. Keep in mind, Major League Soccer doesn't always recognize that. There have been games almost every international window, I think, so far, or all of them, I think, up to this point. And some of those are makeup games or whatever, right? But like, no matter what, they've played 4 in that amount of time. They drew to Austin. They drew 0-0 to Minnesota. They barely beat San Jose on the road. I'm just like trying to see like where the 3 goals really come from. Now they can't win. I just don't know if they bag 3 of them.
I mean, unless Arango is on form again, which I don't know.
He needs to be.
He does. At this point, in the last game of the season, if the best version of that man isn't coming to play this game, I don't know how confident you are as a Salt Lake fan. Like, I don't know what happened, but this is a massive game, like AJ said, for the implications, because they have to win to stave off Portland, right? Portland's a point behind. If they draw, it's not going to be enough. Like they really have to go in there swinging right now, try to take down Salt Lake at home or on the road, I should say, to stay just where they are. They could potentially move up into a 7th place spot, right? Get out of that wild card spot if they get some help from Minnesota. But no matter what, they control their own fate when it comes to having a home field advantage for some kind of a playoff game after the decision day is done. So massive implications here. Davi, we haven't heard from you yet, man. What do you think?
I'm just looking like at the form, like on paper, and honestly, bro, like this game, like this could be a draw or could go either way. Honestly, man, I'm just like
Could be a draw or go either way.
Every option is possible. Everything is possible. Anything
it's been so long since like we've had like a proper MLS match week that like I'm cooked.
I'm cooked. I think this is actually low key a good game. It's like one of those games like no one really talks about or hypes up going in, but has massive potential if like you do watch the league week in and week out and understand these two teams. Like,
and RSL, they do have a little bit of a history on like making drama on decision day.
Yeah, that's actually
passed over a couple years.
Yeah, it's actually a good point.
And just look at that form. I mean, it's just like the last 5. RSL, they've drawn 3 but won 2. Whitecaps, it's L City.
I agree. Now they had to deal with some injuries, right? Like Gald was out for a little while. There have been multiple times where they've had like bunches of key players out. But I would say Real Salt Lake feel like the more cohesive team, even though they've been a little more up and down than they were in the first half of this season.
Yeah.
But I don't know why. Part of me is like that backline team's vulnerable, and I feel like Vancouver will get goals. Damn, AJ got me rethinking a little bit of things. I don't know.
I'm looking at like Vancouver's like situation, like in the playoffs. Like I know that they're in, like, but I think I think they're cooked either way. Like because I don't think they make it past the wild card. If they do make it past the wild card, they play the Galaxy, and if they go to 7th, they play LAFC. So I don't. Either way, I don't see them making a deep run. I think they're just a one and done team.
Yeah, maybe. I think well, they kind of were a little bit that last season too, right? I mean, they got LAFC. It's like so much depends on like what the matchup is, but yeah, I agree.
But looking at the matchup,
if somehow Colorado, right? If somehow Colorado and what was it below them, Minnesota?
Yeah,
right?
Minnesota.
If somehow they both lose, like to the teams that they shouldn't be losing to, but if somehow they lose, Vancouver Whitecaps wins, they automatically jump both of them.
Yeah, fair enough. Look, man, I think that there's something here for sure for Vancouver. They're going to be in this game. It's going to be there's potential for goals on both sides in a big way. I don't know. You know what? I'll stick with my original picks. I really don't know. I think it is kind of 50-50. I'm going to go with Vancouver. I don't think it's going to be a draw. I think one of these two teams will actually win. But I'm going to back to make it the 3 points and at a minimum solidify their 8th place spot.
All right. I mean, you still kind of sounded like Dobby there too, as well. I mean, yeah, it could be a draw.
I said it could
Both
be.
Teams
I am making a pick. I am. I am making a pick. It really could. Like there's a lot going on in this game, but I'm not going to ride the fence. Vancouver will win this game, in my opinion, and they're at a minimum they'll solidify 8th place spot. If they get to 7th because Minnesota shits the bed. You know, there's even more on the table for them, and we'll see if they can avoid and maybe get a little bit of a break with some nagging injuries and get ready for the actual postseason. So we'll see. We'll find out. But they need this game, like AJ said. 4 losses out of 5, not good, just not good. So Honda, you're Vancouver too, or did you change your mind?
2-1 Vancouver. 2-1
okay.
Vancouver.
AJ's got Salt Lake.
And
Davi.
I'm gonna go 2-0 to RSL.
2-0. All right. A trouncing, it looks like. I don't know. We'll see. And our last matchup of the day, that's probably one of the juicier ones in this kind of little decision day window, at least from my perspective as a neutral. The rivalry, the battle for Cascadia, the Cascadia Cup, right? Portland traveling to Seattle. Seattle, look, man, I kind of wish Xiaoyan would have showed up today because this man would have been cooked, bro. He would have been cooked 100%. Like, look at this, bro. Seattle, remember how much has he trashed Seattle this season? And they completely turned this thing around, man. 3rd place in the West, sitting at 56 points. That spot, I guess if they lose this game and Salt Lake goes on to beat Vancouver, they go down to top 4, but that's as far as they're going. They're top 4 no matter what. They're going to be at Lumen Field hosting a rival. and a rival they've already beaten once in Portland this season. So this is kind of a crazy test now for Portland. And keep in mind, man, Portland, for the last 2 weeks, were in control of their own fate. They could have realistically already locked up a home field advantage for at least the play-in game. They had Dallas last week, a down bad, nothing to play for Dallas team who came in there and only had 2 wins on the road, had nothing to play for, and they drew 0-0. Evander, Anthony, nobody stepped up to really get the result. And now they're in this position where they have to beat an informed rival to try and get something for the wild card. How do we see this one going, guys?
I've backed Portland on the show. I've showed Portland respect, and especially to Evander. I love Evander. I think he's a great player. Probably had him a little bit too high on the MVP rankings.
Let's remind everybody, where'd you have him?
Number 2.
sorry. I laughed. It's just like, yeah, that's crazy, bro. That's crazy. Anyway, go ahead.
But I don't see a way Portland wins this game. I think their defense lets them down. But I do think whoever they play in the wild card, whether it be home or away, whether it be Minnesota, Vancouver, or even Colorado. Could Colorado possibly go down there? Yeah.
I don't know.
Can we check? Because I don't know, but
I know they could be jumping Vancouver, but
yeah, I mean, to me, like, I think Portland will win the wild card no matter where it is or against who. I think Portland will win that wild card, but I don't see them coming out of Seattle with the win. I think Seattle are too informed. They're too hot right now, and I think Seattle's gonna want to lock up a top 3 seed in the West.
Yeah, fair enough, man. Seattle, to me, the jury's still a little bit out. I don't want to make this about Seattle because they've already locked up, kind of their spot. But to me, I don't know what to expect from them in playoffs. I really don't. Like, if they get home field, a home field playoff game, sure, they should win that one. After that, it's anybody's guess. I think Xiaoyan would say the exact same thing, to be honest. So we'll see what they do. But Portland, they didn't show me shit against Dallas. Evander proved to me he wasn't the MVP. I think this team kind of proved to me that maybe the mentality is just not there because they're still getting backed, or they're still trying to get back to what they were, a really good MLS side. They're a pretty decent side. They've had spells where they were very positive, good runs of form throughout the year. But I just don't think I can trust this Portland team. 1 win the last 5, multiple opportunities to get out of these wild card spots, and just haven't done it. I think Seattle should win this game.
But it is a derby match, and so anything can happen. And they have more to play for, Portland. And but it is this, like, Xiaoyan, it's like he blacked out like the entire existence of Seattle's franchise. It's like, this is what they do. I mean, they're like kind of terrible in the beginning of the year, and then they play better in the middle, and then it's like they get into playoffs, and something can happen in the playoffs for them. Because I mean, they're that like quintessential pragmatic team. And I think that's unfortunately how it's going to go. And I think in this match too, I mean, Seattle Sounders probably going to try to, kind of spoil the game a little bit for Timbers and, not let them play. And Timbers are going to try everything to score, but I don't think there's going to be any goals in this one. It's going to be a 0-0 draw.
I think it's always been kind of low scoring anyway. It gets a little bit chippy. I think there's been, I think it would have been a 1-0 and a 2-1 this year. I can go back and look. I can't really look at the stats as far as the head-to-head goes. But I look really quick here. Yeah, 1-0, 2-1. 2-2 is the most we saw September 2023. And then 0-0. There was a 4-1 at the beginning of last season for Portland. But, again, Seattle doing what they always do, starting terribly and finding a way to get into form as they get closer to the postseason. That is what experienced teams do. Look, man, I just think Portland it might be a low scoring game. It's a rivalry, sure. They don't inspire me on the road, and I think Lumen Field is always traditionally tough to play at because of the fan base, because of the fucking turf. I don't know. And Seattle learned form. I think I'm back in the Sounders. 2-1. Davi, Honda, how we feeling?
I'm back in the Sounders, but 1-0. I don't think there's going to be a lot of goals in this.
Yeah, you're probably right on that one too. I'm hoping for more than 1 goal, but if it happens that way, I wouldn't be shocked. And Davi, you were Sounders as well?
Sounders either 2-1 or 2-0.
Yeah. 2-0 would also not surprise me at all, man. Just again, I know we have Portland fans who love to kind of, mention that, or they feel like we're too negative on their team. No negativity, man. You guys have had multiple opportunities and created your own chaos, your own problems. You have to solve it now against a pretty damn good side. So I don't know. We could be wrong, but none of the evidence is there, at least as of yet. AJ is still a believer. Fight the good fight, bro. Fight the good fight.
Portland fans, learn from Philly fans. Philly fans started talking shit to us, and then what happened? They're fighting their way into the playoffs. Don't be like Philly fans.
Don't be like Philly fans. That is the overarching message of the Decision Day episode for Up MLS. I like that, bro.
At least they can admit defeat in the 2021 playoffs, Portland, unlike Philadelphia.
Fair enough, bro. Yeah, man. Look, we'll see what happens. A lot of juicy matchups coming ahead this weekend, this Saturday specifically for Decision Day. And if you've been tuning into MLS and specifically this show, Wake Up MLS, all season, you'll know. I think for the most part, would you say for the most part we've been right or wrong, or would you say we've been 50-50 this season?
Overall or individually?
Overall. Okay, easy. Some of us have had better takes than others. Let's look at what it is. But I think collectively, outside of the midweek matches, we've actually been pretty decent on this show. Like at least one or two of us have been pretty solid with our picks week in and week out. Midweek has always kind of thrown us for a loop collectively, but this is Major League Soccer. That's exactly what happens. It's part of the beauty of the league, I guess you could say, to an extent. But yeah, man, it's just, there's some layers of unpredictability when it comes to this league and these teams. But no matter what, hopefully you've enjoyed it up to this point. Like I mentioned before at the top of the episode, if you haven't done so already, like the video down below, subscribe to the channel. We're done with predictions for Decision Day. However, next week, guys, playoffs are coming. Wild cards coming up very, very soon. We're going to be ranking every one of the postseason teams and ranking them based on where we think they're going to bow out and ultimately probably crowning an MLS Cup champion along the way. So stick around, stay tuned, help us get to 1,000 subscribers. We got a pretty cool giveaway once we get there. We'll talk more about it as we get down to that number. But again, guys, appreciate the support the whole way through. We're excited for what's to come Decision Day. So from everybody here at Wake Up MLS, my name's Jose. That's Honda. That's AJ. That's Davi. We'll catch you guys next time.